Welcome in. This is the Second Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and we are talking about everything from Abu Dhabi this morning to Cabo this evening. And joining me to do just that, Greg DuCharme is here. Hello, Gregors.
Gentlemen, good evening. Great stuff to talk about in the world of golf today. Other sports, not so much. Maybe some good stuff. We can get into that a little later. But awesome day of golf. What a week.
Mark Immelman is here. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Abu Dhabi to Cabo sounds like the name for a rock and roll song by Sammy Hagar. Or something. That's nice. I like it.
It does slap a little bit. Yeah. Well, we can even throw Berlin in there. It's been a long sports day for you, Mark.
Oh my gosh, I know. And I was in. Okay, mea culpa, folks.
Yeah, sure.
I'm begging for forgiveness and maybe forgiveness of my Savior Jesus, because in church I'm updating to see what the Falcons result.
Oh, you sinner!
And then exactly, and then they lose in overtime. So that's clearly my fault. Sorry, Falcons Nation. It was on me. I should have focused on the priorities there, not the Falcons score.
They had the Colts on the ropes in Germany. Goes to overtime, and Jonathan Taylor does. I mean, I did not realize he was an animal, Greg. He's an animal.
Yeah,
he's like the best running back in the NFL, right?
Yes. He's on my fantasy team, and he delivers every week. It's incredible. He rushed for 244 today.
And
244 yards. He's unbelievable. I've had a chance to watch him a few times, and it's like watching Scotty Scheffler. You just know, like, it's just like another chance. And every time he touches the ball, it could go for 80 yards. And it actually happens all the time. It's crazy.
Speaking of long days and nights, so I was up until 11 Eastern watching the Bama result. Yeah, but it was almost a very good football week for me. Almost.
Yeah, almost in the course of just a handful of hours, 12 hours. You could have got two big wins. Unfortunately, the Falcons could not get the job done. I do have to give the update on the NFL Survivor, by the way. It's not a good one. It's not a good one for us. It's not a good one for another 40% of our Second Cut NFL Survivor. Down go the Bills. They were the most selected team thus far. That's 21%. Down go the Panthers. That's another 18.5%. As of right now, with games still outstanding, there are only 38 left. Greg, you are not one of them. No. Armina is not one of them.
Oh, dang, Greg.
We're all out.
You know, I knew this was a risky play, but I thought the Panthers were the key to getting the job done in the end. I got through this week. I was like, I loved who I had left. I loved the schedule. This week was tough. If I didn't go here, I was going to go with the Bills.
Yeah.
So I'm not that upset because, like, the Bills were the layup, and I was like, I take this chance. I'm going to win, or at least make it all the way.
Rick, you got to tell me, because if the Colts had gone down, that would have cost a bunch of folks too, right?
They weren't that popular. I think they've been used a lot at this point.
I think so too.
Their fast start. They were not very popular, but if I'm just kind of skimming through teams that have already used them, it looks like the Colts have been used quite a bit through this point.
All right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And people get a little bit squeamish about those overseas games. I think.
Yeah.
Well,
I was looking at this.
What's something weird that happens over there?
Yeah, something strange. But the real kicker was watching this. Like I wasn't even watching the game. I was just watching the score. I'm like, it was close. If they could pull this out, because Miami's up 16-0. I'm like, there's got to be a ton of people on Buffalo this week. It's happening. I just need to win.
Right. Oh yeah, you were rooting for that.
And remember,
yes, I was like, it's perfect. Fail.
Well, remember our last week we were talking about it's the NFL, anything's likely to happen. I mean, if you had held my feet to the fire and go Bills in Miami, I'm like, Miami's got no chance given how they've been playing. And next thing, look at this. Crazy.
they have, as far as I can tell, as a very casual viewer of the NFL, the Dolphins have just rolled over every single week, and of course come out and beat the Bills this week. Maybe the Bills.
But how about the Bills? They've lost to the Falcons, who are 3-6 now, and to Miami, who now 2-7 or something, right?
But they beat the Chiefs, who are the current Super Bowl favorites, which is the whole thing. Playing a bunch of really athletic men in tight clothes and an oblong ball just makes like weird stuff happen. Weird bounces. It's just really weird.
I need to say this, because I'm not really that high on seeing so much of these college players' legs. Those short, tight pants that they're wearing, that is just not kosher with me. I've just got to say that for the record.
Are you also against professional golfers wearing shorts?
I can't say I'm a fan.
Okay, well then at least that tracks.
Yeah,
that's in line. Let's talk a little bit of professional golf here. Let's start in Abu Dhabi. We sat here on Friday night, Greg, and we were looking at Tommy Fleetwood and Aaron Rai being co-favorites, or I think they were tied going into the weekend, and they were tied after 72. Aaron Rai had himself an unbelievable week. He made an albatross on Friday, and he beats Tommy Fleetwood by birdieing the first playoff hole to capture his first win since the Matt Kuchar Wyndham Championship and his third win on the DP World Tour.
Really impressive player. And I think there are more wins available to Aaron Rai. I know it's so hard to do, but this is a big win. I don't know what the official World Golf Ranking field strength was, but I've always been a believer in, like, what does the leaderboard look like on Sunday? What's the top 10 look like going into the final round? And I mean, you just look at this leaderboard and you got Tommy Fleetwood, who he was neck and neck with all week long, was leading Tommy Fleetwood by 1 heading into the day. You got Rory McIlroy right there in the mix, Nikolai Højgaard right there in the mix. To step up and beat all these guys, regardless of what OWGR says the field strength was here, it's as good as winning anything that's not a major. It's because that you went out there and you beat arguably the third best player in the world and the second best player in the world, and a really nice player in Nikolai Højgaard as well. So really impressed with that. And then you add to it that you go make a 10-footer for birdie in a playoff hole to win, and that's the stuff. Aaron Rai will be able to draw on this week for a very long time in his career.
That Rory McIlroy went out and shot a 62 on Sunday. He's done that before, best round of the day. But it's Aaron Rai's moment, Mark. This guy, is he the hardest worker on the PGA Tour? At least it feels like he is, right? I mean, he does not seem to let anything go. He's the epitome of like 1% better every day. He's not going to go through the motions in practice. He's not. It just feels like everything he does is so intentional, and the dividends are getting paid in a big way.
Okay, I'm so glad you pointed that out, because at the Wyndham earlier this year, he was in contention again. Yeah. And so there's a chance I have him in the final round. So we're on the range there, just catching up with players, and he and I had a brief chat. And you speak of leaving no stone unturned. This is pre-round, right? And I took a video of it. I said, do you mind if I video this? And he's like, sure. And because I was just fascinated at the discipline of the man. Like if I had to compare it to something else, I'd sort of say, imagine the martial artist going through one of those pre-fight moves of theirs where they do whatever the name for that thing is, and it's slow motion exactly, and they are like absolutely precise in every move they're doing. So this guy before the round has got an alignment rod on the ground that he's hitting with alignment. Then he's got another one like 4 or 5 feet behind him that's just laying there looking down the target. And on every shot, he'd come and stand on that alignment rod, and you'd see him sort of rock back and forth with the alignment rod underneath the arches of his feet, right? And you'd see him get a sense for kind of where his posture was. And then he'd stand there with a club in his hand, he'd rest it on the ground, and then he'd make like just a move away from the golf ball. and then the move through. Then he had the feel for this. Then he'd walk to the golf ball, and then go and hit a shot, then come back like this.
I've seen him do that. I forgot until you brought that back up. I have seen him do that. That's right.
And I took a video of this going, this is going to be used on social media at some stage, and tonight is going to be the night, right? Because it's the perfect time for it. Because to Greg's point, this guy has taken down a massive field. Like when you look at the finishing leaderboard, it's like a who's who of the European Tour, save, John Rahm maybe, and company like that, of the European golfers. And it's just so well played, and he's stood tall against Tommy Fleetwood, who was a Ryder Cup hero, who is playing so well right now. I mean, think since the tour, well, the whole tour really, but then he was close there at the Travelers, and then wins the Tour Championship and the FedEx Cup. So it's Tommy's at the height of his power, playing with a lot of confidence. He holds him off. Rory was sort of contending, but the 62 played his way up there. But Aaron, it's amazing if you watch him play, because you look at the scoring in this place, and then for that matter, the scoring at the Wyndham too, which gets low. If you watch him practicing, you're like, this is not the guy that looks like he's got this crazy flair that's going to shoot the grass off a golf course every time he plays, but yet he does. And if there is a weakness in his game, again, I don't know what the statistics bear out, but I would say it's almost his putting, because he's just that accurate off the tee, and his iron game is really reliable. But on the putting green, he looks kind of, I don't know, contrived would be the word I'd use. But to then step up and make these putts on a golf course where they're shooting low, and to make that putt to win, man, is so impressive. And you're right, he has squeezed that lemon, and he gets everything out of his game. There's no stone left unturned. And for that, I commend him, and I'm highly impressed at him.
Statistically, Mark, it matches up with your thoughts there, because Aaron Rai just a slightly below average putter on the PGA Tour while being one of the best ball strikers that we have. 25 under par was the score that got you into the playoff, and Aaron Rai is victorious. One more event, Gregors. One more event on the DP World Tour. They flip around faster than anybody. Their next season starts like momentarily. One more event, DP World Tour Championship next week. Rory McIlroy leads their race there over Marco Penge, and Rory is going for, I believe this is number 7. 7 times. That sound right to you? 7, I believe he's going for.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Yeah.
And he won number 6 last year.
That's right.
Look, Rory, the thing about Rory and the DP World Tour is his performance in majors has been so good through his career. You pick up a lot of points. And then Rory McIlroy gets into fields like this, and really just this area of the world. He plays so well in the Middle East. Even when he's a little slow, it feels like he has done exactly what he did this week so many times. When he's playing in the Middle East, he just ends up in the top 5. It's like every single time, whether it's a really low one on Saturday, a really low one on Sunday, he's right there. It almost feels like this is easy for him. So, today finally got it going on the back 9. Back 9 had given him trouble throughout the week. Just couldn't quite get on those hot runs. But he birdied his first 5 holes on the back 9 today. And ends up 1 shot out of a playoff. It's like you didn't think he had any chance heading into this day, but goes out and fires 62. It's vintage Rory McIlroy.
He is swinging nicely too, man. I've been watching over the last few weeks. You can see Rory hasn't been off. He's been working hard on the golf swing from when they played there in India, and he was out there with the training aids and grooving the path of the backswing, because that's kind of his key. And it looks, on the way to the top, very similar to what it looked like to me early in the season at Pebble and these places where he played so well and won. He looks like he's primed for another tear. The only problem for him, though, is competitive golf is about to stall after next week, and he's going to be off for a little while. But it clearly looks like the Rory that we saw post-Masters, that was looking for inspiration to get out and work, he's found that somehow. Because, man, that golf swing looks different to what it did as the season end on the PGA Tour arrived.
Yeah, he's I love it when he gets it dialed. He'll run rough shot through this this portion of the schedule, and we'll see if he can kick it off in 2026. If I'm reading this right, because this race to Dubai, it's been the order of merit, it's changed. I'm just trying to get the records in place here. I believe this is he's going for. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. I think he's going for 7.
Yeah, Monty's got 7 in a row.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going for. All right, turn our attention to Cabo. We had a field in Abu Dhabi, a leaderboard in Abu Dhabi with a bunch of Ryder Cuppers. There were only 2 Ryder Cuppers for the Worldwide Technology Championship, and one of them was victorious. Benny Booms, Ben Griffin, goes 66-63 on the weekend to shoot 29 under par. Greg, that is not only a 2-shot victory, it is the tournament scoring record. It is a 259 if you want to count them by raw strokes, and it is Ben Griffin's 3rd victory of the year.
And just phenomenal performance from him this week. He looked so solid throughout the bag. Very few mistakes. I made 3 bogeys for the whole week. He chipped it great, although he didn't miss many greens. His golf swing looks phenomenal. We talk about it a lot, how long he is, but you know what really stands out to me. You think of the Charles Schwab. That's a little bit of a tougher golf course. He played really well at Memorial, another tough track. Played well at the U.S. Open. Obviously, very, very difficult. And you get into a field like this, a tournament like this, and you go shoot 29 under. It's not easy to shoot 29 under. Like even on an easy golf course, it's brutally difficult to do. And so often tournament favorites in these birdie fests don't get the job done. You know, it's easier to pick Scotty at the Memorial than say Ben Griffin at the Worldwide Technologies Championship. You know, the golf course doesn't separate out every weakness quite as much. So it becomes really challenging, really difficult to do. And yet he looked like the best player all week long. He also fortunately saved his really hot round for Sunday, which was great. I mean, who knows what happens if there's another round in this tournament. That was the way it was. It was like an NBA game where it's just who's going to go on the last run. Ben Griffin went on the last run. Also, I got to give him so much credit. This guy was 18th on the PGA Tour in strokes gained putting, and comes in this week with a new putter with a mallet. You know, and no data this week. Don't know how it went, but
my eyeballs say it went very well.
Yeah, eyeballs say very well, and Mark could also say 29 under. You made some putts.
Yeah, well, he said too. He goes, the putter warmed up over the second 9, and then it was asked, well, does it stay in the bag? And he goes, well, right now it's looking pretty good for that sort of stuff. So he's telling me it's working well. Yeah,
I bet. Yeah, Mark, it was right. We don't have the shot link information, but you don't. I mean, he's. It's fun because we talk about how long he has gotten, and we talk about how good of kind of a wedge player he is, and he can hit his long irons really well too. But then that putter, it's what makes him dangerous in some of these Ryder Cup scenarios that we saw. It's what makes him dangerous on the back 9 on Sunday. He seems to have just an immense amount of confidence in his game right now. And we've talked about this before, the freedom of where he was 2 years ago. This is all gravy. This is all extra credit. He is playing on the PGA Tour. He is winning golf tournaments. I mean, he's got to be on cloud 9 perpetually.
Yeah, no doubt. And to me, for all golfers at any level, it's all about confidence and consistency. And Greg's touched on it. He's highlighted this, and I want to be kind of not the data guy, but just the results speak for themselves. So Greg talked about the Charles Schwab where he won in Colonial. But the week prior to the PGA Championship, he finishes in a tie for 8th at Quail Hollow. Then first at Charles Schwab, a runner-up at the Memorial. Then a tie for 10th at the U.S. Open. Then a tie for 14th at the Travelers Signature event. Then a tie for 13th in Detroit. Then he goes to John Deere, has a rough first round. But remember, he was like, I'm going to miss the cut. It's okay. I've played so much. I want to go over to the Open early and get some rest and then play. So he misses the cut at the John Deere, misses at the Open. Those 2 missed cuts, kind of an aberration, really. Then he comes back, he goes tie 11th at the Wyndham. Then he goes tied 9th at Memphis in the FedEx St. Jude. Then he goes tied 12th at the BMW, tied 10th at the Tour Championship, and then 2nd at the Procore, where all the Ryder Cup is played in Napa. Now he wins. I mean, since the PGA Championship, you could make a considered case, Scheffler aside, that in terms of pure results, he's the second best guy on the PGA Tour, and he's playing with this incredible confidence. Where Greg was right, he was the sort of the star of the field, but it looked like the poise that the guy's playing with and the self belief. You don't shoot 62 in the final round by accident. When you're in contention, those rounds happen normally for guys that don't really believe in themselves when they're a long ways back and they're teeing off at 8 a.m. off the 10th. But yeah, the guy's in contention, gets off to the fast start and just builds on it. He said, he actually said in his post-round interview, which speaks to a guy playing with confidence, he goes, I got off to the good start, which was nice. He goes, and then I said, I'm going to have to get after this thing a bit more, which he did. So he just decided, I'm going to play more aggressive, and took advantage of the thing. So he was able to access those sort of gears that he has through the wins and stuff now, and understanding who he is, and just parlaying this confidence. And man, he's got that look about him where he's like, yeah, man, I'm Ben Griffin, damn it. I'm for real. I've played on the Ryder Cup. I'm 3-time winner on the tour this year. My first 3 wins in the first year, in 1 year. And the only other guys that have had 3 wins this year are Rory and Scotty, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. He's in some lofty company, and he doesn't look like he's going anywhere at all to me.
Couple of things. I think if his name was Griffin, he would be like a superstar and would be the most popular guy on the PGA Tour, right? Just like Ben Griffin's kind of boring, but Griffin is like a sick killer who wins 3 times a year. As Mark was reading through those results, Greg, I got curious. I looked it up. So this isn't a great stat, but I think it is telling. Scheffler aside, Ben Griffin had more top 10s than anybody in the world. 12 of them, if you include this one. Russell Henley was 3rd. Tommy Fleetwood, Rory McIlroy were right there as well. Obviously, he plays a lot more, but I do think that he has a really good sense of like the ebbs and flows of a golf tournament. And Mark was mentioning like, okay, I need to kind of go right now. Let me go. And he's just around. I mean, you can't win every week. You can't top 10 every single week, but he does a hell of a job of at least being close to the top of the board
constantly, and it's what we think has a chance and what they think has a chance, I would imagine, are very different things. If you're 6 shots back heading into Sunday as a player, what's your mindset versus what's our mindset? Oh, that's probably too far back. That's what we say from our ivory tower. But when he's in that position, he's going in thinking he's got to get something going and give himself a chance. It's like, this isn't impossible. So you go out and play with a certain attitude. And Ben Griffin has played a lot of golf with that attitude, a lot of meaningful golf shots. And he's pulled them off, and he hasn't pulled them off, and it kind of works out either way. And there's pressure to win, but he doesn't seem like he's under pressure. Like you said, Rick, it's gravy. It's not only is he not, working in an office as a loan officer, that's great, but he's also already top 50 for next year. He's exempt for 2 years after this. Things are good. And if I'm Ben Griffin, my eyes are on major championships next year. Mark mentioned the PGA and the U.S. Open. He played great golf. He's and should be viewed as a legitimate contender because he is a incredibly complete golfer this year. Now that he's improved as much as he did off the tee.
Rick, one more Griffin observation,
please.
Right, double check me on this. But as far as I can remember, he has a Worldwide Technologies logo on the front of his cap. Yes?
I can find out.
Picture. So I'm going to start the story and then stop me if I'm wrong.
He does. Go ahead. You're good.
So you're coming to an event at the behest of the sponsor because you're a partner of this company. So that doesn't mean you and your wife are showing up and you're hanging around by the pool when you're not playing, like a lot of folks would have been. That means that you got functions to attend, you got media to do, you got autographs to sign, you got hands to shake, all this kind of other stuff. And he comes in here and shoots 65, 65, 66, 63. Oh my gosh, that's even more confidence. And yeah, now here's Griff Griffin, because I'm going to make this stick, right?
I love that.
And you talk about it like, not you're going to make movies about him, but he's got the Mercury aviators on, right? He's got a smile that's like $1 million worth. He's approachable as heck. The guy he's for real now, and this is not recency bias. We've been watching this come, and I want to close with this. Can you believe that? Remember, there was conversation pre-Ryder Cup where certain pundits were like, "Nah, he shouldn't be picked." And the one thing about the second cut, where I'm proud of us, is we were digging our heels in about this guy getting a selection.
Yeah.
I mean, he truly is. JJ Spawn can make an argument for it. Xander can make an argument for it. But if you're looking for the second best American golfer right now, Griffin's your guy.
I was ready to protest the Ryder Cup if Griff Griffin was not on that team. Luckily, he was. Result not great for the United States, but Ben Griffin closing out 2025 in style. 29 under. That was 2 shots clear of Chad Ramey, Sammy Valimaki. But I think the bigger story here is Garrick Higgo. He was going into the final round with another opportunity mark to get over the finish line. He did it at Punta Cana earlier this year. He's playing the best golf of his life. The wheels came off at number 12. He ended up having to take an awkward drop, and he made a double there. That was what ruined his chances of winning this golf tournament. But Garrick Higgo is as complete as he has been as a PGA Tour player in his career.
Yeah, and what a lot of fans of may not realize is that this is a guy that when he gets on a hot streak, he typically kicks it on. Like he won, was it 3 times in a row on the DP World Tour a few years ago? It was definitely 2 in a row.
Yeah. At least 2 in a row. I think it was 3 in a short period of time.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 starts. Well, he won like 3 starts worldwide in 3 times in 4 starts or something like that.
Yeah. So he's that sort of a player that when he gets the taste for it, then he's going to keep going because he's powerful, but he plays with this kind of like a free abandon about it, where he just hits it hard and he finds it again. And so when things are going his way, he's going to take advantage. The thing that, to me, watching what went down today, is that when you're in the final group and you're playing alongside someone else and there's no real momentum and you have the lead, and so you're playing not defense initially, but you're trying not to fumble it yourself, then you're both kind of helping each other from the frying pan into the fire because there's no real momentum. And I saw that kind of starting where they didn't really have anything special going. They were under par, but everyone else was making low scores around them. Then all of a sudden you peek up at the leaderboard and you see Ben Griffin go bananas at the turn. Now you're suddenly behind. And then you're not switching gears, but you're like, oh my gosh. And that hits you like a ton of bricks mentally and emotionally as well. So I feel like a lot of today was just a question where there was no momentum in the final group. It happens easily. And then all of a sudden we talk about that chaser's freedom, where the guys out in front, like Griffin, are like, well, I just got to go and make birdies. And they play that way. Where at the back of the field, you're just like, well, I just mustn't give it away. So I think there was some of that going on Garrick's behalf. And I'm sure he's a bit disappointed. But heck, what a great fall season so far. Because now he's guaranteeing the next 10, the Aon next 10 and the signature events, the first 2. And so it's all opening up for him very nicely to carry this good play on into next year when it really means something.
That's a perfect segue, partner, because that's exactly where I was going. 57th before the week to 52nd. Greg, we talked about this a little bit on Friday. Last 2 events, probably has secured himself, I would think, into that top 60. And the fall now, how's this fall resume? T7, runner-up, T4, T4.
Yes, it's phenomenal. And the thing that's great about it, if you're Garrick Higgo or a Garrick Higgo fan, is he has a torn labrum. Like right now, he said in his interview yesterday, it's still torn. And so after the PGA, he had to take nearly a month off. He's been working on it, strengthening it, trying to reduce the symptoms. But it's clear that he's now healthy and swinging with a lot of confidence. And he's a great putter. He has had a great putting season, even though he doesn't qualify for rankings. You know, he's gaining over half a shot on the field every time he steps on a green. So that's fantastic. And you know, one other thing I wanted to say, we were talking about this on Friday night, looking at Garrick Higgo specifically, because one of our listeners commented that, you know, where like something about Garrick Higgo. He was at 11 under, and we were having the conversation. It was like, you know, 11 under's a stretch because you have to play the round of the day back-to-back days. And of course he does it
Immediately after it comes out of our mouths, he does it on Saturday.
Right. So he goes and shoots 61. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, now this he kind of, the thing that happened to him today that Mark was talking about, where like all of a sudden you're losing, that's what he did to Nick Dunlap and Matty Schmid yesterday. It's that same ebb and flow. Like, when's the run going to happen? And all that being said, he nearly did it. Like, he nearly did enough if it weren't for number 12, that unfortunate double bogey. Because then if it's not for that, and he goes in at 28 under heading into 18, he's got to make a 4 to tie. That changes things.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden a playoff is legitimate. Playoff at 29 under par. Unbelievable. So he almost did what he needed to do over the weekend. Really impressive.
He is not in the field for Bermuda, so probably a strategic rest, and he might not need to play the RSM either. We'll see how that shapes up. But Higgo will take the week off, and we might see him one more time, might not see him again. I want to get a couple of thoughts here, Mark. We didn't have you on Friday, so I want to talk about Nick Dunlap. This is a guy who has struggled with the driver, certainly the mental side of things. It's been already just a couple years into his career, into his young career, a lot of different storylines. Was shot out of a cannon, 61, 67. Struggled on Saturday, shot a 71, but he closed with a 7 under 65 today. It's 24 under par. It's 5 shots out of first, 3 shots out of second. What should Nick Dunlap's takeaways be from this week?
I think a lot of positives personally. I know of late, I'm not sure it's common knowledge, but he's sought out a different golf instructor. Not that he had one anyway. He'd sort of try and figure out stuff by himself. But his golf swing just lent itself to a lack of success with the driver. But he's a wonderful iron player. So if he got the ball in play off the tee, you know, he could shoot low. And we saw that happen when he won the American Express for argument's sake. And then he won out there at the Barracuda, right, which is also a bit of a scoring bonanza. So if he's in play off the tee, he can compete. But the driver was always the bugaboo. So as far as the stars aligning for him, I feel like you're working with someone new. You're getting a little understanding of your golf swing, what your tendencies are. And then you get to a golf course that is like wide open off the tee. And so if he is errant once or twice, he's still going to be okay. It's not that sightseer that on any other tour venue is costing you a big number. So I think he's leaving here with a lot of confidence, despite the slow Saturday he had. But you got to remember this too. Even though he's a tournament winner, he had not been in that situation for a long time. When you're around the lead, well, I don't know, he had the lead at that stage, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're in the final group, and then Garrick overtakes them. But playing that final group's a different animal. But he showed a lot of poise to bounce back with a good day today. So I think he must be feeling really good about himself. And I'm not sure it would be worth his while to play in Bermuda. I know he's probably still down the rankings some, but I feel like his exemption still has him exempt for next year. So he'll probably go down to Sea Island with some familiar conditions. They played the SEC Championship there for the longest time. So yeah, maybe a week off, work on the game, tighten it up a bit more for another good outing at a golf course that he knows very well.
Well, your instincts are spot on. He is not in the field for the Bermuda Championship next week. So Dunlap, we're going home, getting some work before we probably see him in Sea Island. I'm proud of you two. Both Mark and Greg cashed their matchups. Rico Hoey over Max Grazerman. Win-win. Both of you got your finishing positions correct. Matty Schmid top 20. That was no problem. You finished T8. And David Ford, Mark, right on the number. Tied for 40th. It gets the job done.
I saw that.
We pay ties in full. So David Ford, thanks to that 67, 5 under on Sunday, cashes both your matchup and your finishing position.
That's good news. I thought he was going to be better than that, but you know what? He's a young guy on tour. He doesn't know all the golf courses. You know, you're getting down to a place in Mexico where I'm not sure he's been before, but anyway, you got to figure it out. And there's new hotels and different food, and so good on him. You know, it's a good start to his career now, and I'm sure he's going to just keep playing. You know, you may as well. Like Jordan Spieth said, "Hell, I'm 20. I'll just play until I fall over."
Yeah, he made an 8 on 15 on Saturday. So that's a quad. So that didn't help. He had a 2, 3, 4. He didn't even make a 5. He had a 2, 3, 4, 6, and an 8 on his card.
Playing like a college golfer, although he's just out of college, so I can understand it.
His 2 9s were 39-30 for a 69.
Well, in that round where he made an 8 and a bogey on a par 5, he made a 2 and a par 4 as well. He almost hit for the cycle.
It's unbelievable. So very good there. Matty Schmid, we were talking on Friday night, Greg. We're like, just don't go out on Saturday and shoot 1 under.
Yeah.
It's exactly what he did. It's like the Friday night kiss of death. Whatever we say, immediately the next morning the opposite happens. But he played very well on Sunday, and this was no sweat for you. Matty Schmid, you were all over this all week. He played quite well.
He played very well. I was impressed. We just shouldn't have said anything about 1 under because I'm sure he would have put himself in a better spot. But this is why he was in the top 20 column, not in the outright column. Rico was in 2 play. He was in my outright column and didn't win. And I know that we had a nice little parlay. Rico Dowdle hit the anytime touchdown.
I know he scored like early, I think too.
Yeah,
like it was early. Yeah.
And unfortunately, even if it was an anytime touchdown and Rico Hoey top 20 parlay, it wouldn't have hit because he finished T21. But good play continues for him too.
Rick, speaking of good play, I was just looking at this leaderboard. If you shoot 468s at this place, which is lower than Scotty Scheffler's annual stroke average, you're finishing in a tie for 31st.
Yeah, you're getting blown out of the water.
Thanks for coming out.
Damn, go home now.
It's been fun. Take your like 25 grand and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, David Ford, 50. He shoots 15 under. Thanks for coming.
40th.
Welcome to the PGA Tour, right?
Exactly. Hey, kids, pay attention in class. This is hard out there.
Yeah, pay attention in class or find another way to win $100,000, which is what you can do in our one and done.
That is such a pro segue by you, man. Congratulations.
Let me see if I can get the pro zoom in here. All right, so here it is. So this is live now. It'll probably be, they'll start being like a media push for this probably starting next week. But the one and done for next year is live. It has a $1.25 million guaranteed purse. If 5 people get in, they're paying out $1.25 million. It is the largest one and done on the internet. Okay.
Rick, why are you telling people then? Why didn't the 4 of us just play?
because this gravy trade from Splash stops if we can't.
We want to have this every year.
Man, I love Splash. Let's do it.
That's exactly right. So, $100,000 to first, but it pays out the top 10%. So it pays out 500 people, and there are segments. So the season is broken down into 6 different segments. So if you're struggling throughout the whole year, you get hot for 4 tournaments at a time, you can still get a pretty good return. If you win a segment, you get $7,500, but it pays out 16 places in each of the 6 segments. So a lot of different ways to get a little bit of cash, but this is pretty cool. And there's going to be some other stuff. I think there's going to be some incentives for people. I think there's I don't want to speak for Splash, but like, I think there's going to be some incentives to sign up. Hey, if you sign up, you're entered in a draw to do something very cool or something else that's very cool. I won't say it yet, but like, it would be cool. Everybody would enjoy it.
What? So you get to have dinner with 4 people from the Second Cut podcast.
Sure. Yeah. You put enough entries in, we'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It'll be entertaining. Gosh.
Yeah.
We can do something like that. This is going to be really cool. I can't wait for this. I'm going to start working on my strategy. Like,
Tell
as
everybody.
early as today.
So it will start Sony Open. There's no Century this year. So Sony Open to BMW Championship. So you've got some time, but again, getting in early will only behoove you because the earlier you get in, you can win more stuff. So I'm sure there's a link in the description. I'm sure Armina put it in already.
Here's a question, because now I'm all up for this. Love Splash, but I always found it hard for us to pick a player on a Tuesday, given golf tees off on a Thursday morning.
Okay.
So when I know for the rest of the field, the deadline for them will be like Wednesday.
Okay.
So can we just share our pick on a Tuesday and go, this is subject to potential change, maybe?
Because, yeah. I mean, it actually might even be better to just say, like, here are the 3 guys I'm considering.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
and then we can talk about 3, like, you know what I mean? Use it as a discussion.
Okay, cool.
And then just
pick on Wednesday.
Obviously make sure, because it'll all be on, like, it's all on Splash. So everyone will be able to see your picks and everybody's picks as soon as the tournament starts. So
cool.
It'll all be there. It's not like there's any advantage. It's all there. Yeah. It's all being input there. It's not like we're recording the picks for anything. So yeah, we could just do it that way.
Well, I've got to find my book with my previous one and done notes because I've got all my picks made already. I'm going to stick to the plan. When I try to get crafty, I just ruin the whole thing.
Mark's plan works. Yeah, if you just go back and listen to episodes from prior years, you'll know Mark's pick already.
I think I've got half the season down for you already, Mark.
I know you got Webb at Wyndham. I know you got Rory at no Eastlake though. So you're gonna have to find another place for Rory.
What do you mean no Eastlake?
It stops at the BMW
stops
Championship.
At the BMW.
Okay, that's fine.
His brain broke.
You just ruined
your favorite tournament.
You know what to do.
Rory against 29 other people at a golf course is like right up his alley. Why would you bet otherwise?
Yeah. Well, you have to use him somewhere else, or just don't use him at all, Mark. That might be a good strategy.
Fine with me.
I enjoy that money and that payday too much. I'm seeing over
there. All right, gents. Anything else before I get you out of here?
Yeah, Rick, I'll see you in Vegas in a couple of days' time.
Yeah, we gotta talk. We gotta figure out a plan.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right.
You must come and watch little Major League Baseball players play golf too.
I think I might have to. Mark Immelman, Greg DuCharme, Rick Gehman. This is the Second Cut. I forgot that I have to end this myself. And goodbye.